Prince Harry didn't just get left out in the cold. He got drop-kicked straight into it, without so much as a polite, mind the frostbite. This wasn't some quiet behind-closed-doors decision either. No, this was a very public, very deliberate humiliation, the kind that plays out in boardrooms, leaks to sources close to the matter, and somehow finds its way into the perfect live TV moment for the world to watch. And the worst part? It wasn't even dramatic. It was surgical. Clean-cut, the kind of cold efficiency that says we've already moved on, before you've even finished your coffee. So here's the tea, and it's not Earl Grey. The deal that once had Harry's name printed in gold is now scrubbed cleaner than a Buckingham Palace press release. Netflix has officially decided that the Duke of Sussex isn't worth the bandwidth it would take to upload a thumbnail of his face. No documentaries, no behind-the-scenes polo specials, no heartfelt, I've grown so much since leaving the palace, speeches. Nothing. He's gone. Deleted like a bad selfie. And if you think this was just about creative differences, think again. This was a performance review without the performance. Netflix reportedly sat through Harry's pitch as the Royal Environmental Doc, the Invictus rehash, maybe even another therapy confessional, and then quietly filed them under ideas that will make people cancel subscriptions. Remember, this is the same company that greenlit a show about a man making cakes shaped like animals. But Harry's ideas, too boring, too cringe, too Harry. It gets better. Because just when you think they'd at least let him bow out gracefully, Netflix allegedly pulled the plug in the most brutal way possible, a televised appearance that made it very, very clear where he stands. Imagine watching the person you share a multi-million-dollar contract with walk onto a live broadcast. Without you. Meghan, and all smiles and poise, selling her next project while not so much as hinting you exist. And the bosses? They're right there in the audience, grinning like they just won the lottery, clapping for a one-person act that used to be a double bill. The optics were pure ice. Cameras caught every moment Meghan being praised for her vision, Netflix execs gushing over her fresh direction, and Harry. Nowhere. Not a mention, not even a pity shot in the montage. It was as if someone had photoshopped him out of his own life. The message? Clear as day. This is Meghan's deal now. Full stop. Let's be real, Harry's been slipping from Netflix's good graces for a while. First came the underperforming docuseries, then the Spotify disaster where even the execs allegedly called him and Meghan grifters. Now this. You don't need an inside source to see the pattern. Netflix is cutting dead weight, and in their eyes, Harry's about as buoyant as a lead teabag. But what makes this public snub so brutal is the timing. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Meghan's cooking show, the one with the suspiciously clean aprons and suspiciously stranger-like friends, is getting a seasonal special. Not a full season, not a major comeback, just a decorative placeholder to keep her name on the roster, and yet, even that is more than Harry's getting. He's gone from co-headliner to not even in the building. Insiders say Netflix sees zero upside in keeping him on screen. No engagement spikes, no brand lift, no royal mystique anymore. The fascination's gone, replaced with the image of a man whose most interesting anecdote involves sweating too much in one of his many luxury saunas. Harsh? Maybe. True? Definitely. Even Meghan, savvy as ever, seems to be leaning into her solo narrative. Public smiles, private pivot. And here's where it stings most: when the cameras rolled on that live event, Netflix didn't just leave Harry out, they elevated the moment into a deliberate rebrand. Meghan in the spotlight, Harry off stage, as if to say, this is what the future looks like and he's not in it. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't an oversight, it was strategy. And Harry, he was just another guy watching from home wondering when the phone stopped ringing. But this isn't just about being cut from a deal. This feels like the first domino in a much bigger chain reaction. Because if Netflix is publicly freezing him out now, what happens when the real storm hits? And trust me, it's coming. Could this be the moment the royal rebel finally realizes he's not the main character in his own story anymore? Or is the real humiliation still waiting in the wings? Oh, the real humiliation. That's still loading. And Netflix seems happy to let the buffering icon spin right in Harry's face. Because here's the twist. This isn't just about cutting him from the current deal. This is about making sure, when the inevitable big moment hits, Harry's nowhere near the set. Think about it, the platform that once rolled out the royal red carpet for the Sussex brand has now replaced it with a welcome mat that only says Meghan. The bosses know exactly what they're doing. They're not burning the bridge with Harry. They're dismantling it, brick by brick. So, When the day comes for the real moneymaker, the divorce special, the tear-streaked solo confessional, there's no awkward joint footage to muddy the narrative. The clean cut now means the clean payday later. And let's be honest, Harry's not helping himself. Every public appearance, every lukewarm interview, every "I've learned so much" soundbite lands with the enthusiasm of a parking ticket. He was supposed to be the rebel prince, the man rewriting the royal rulebook. Instead, he's become the guy who complains about frost on the lawn of his Montecito mansion. The industry can smell irrelevance, and Netflix has a nose like a bloodhound. Meghan, for all her fake kitchens and curated friend groups, still knows how to feed the content beast. She's keeping herself marketable, clickable, memeable. Harry, he's the meme, and not the kind you want to be. And the live TV snub? That was the boss's way of saying the quiet part out loud. He's not just out of the deal, he's out of the brand. They don't even need him as background furniture anymore. This is Meghan's stage, Meghan's arc, Meghan's comeback, or at least her pivot. And when the pivot lands, and the story flips from Sussex power couple to Meghan the survivor, Netflix will be there, cameras rolling, cash ready. Meanwhile, Harry will be the footnote, the guy who got edited out of his own career. Maybe he thought walking away from the palace meant freedom. Maybe he thought California sun would keep him warm. But right now, the coldest place on earth isn't London in the rain. It's wherever Prince Harry is standing when the top bosses decide they don't need you anymore. And the question hanging over all of this, the one nobody's saying out loud, is simple. If this is how they cut him now, how brutal will it be when Meghan's ready to cut him too? And that's the part no one's ready to say out loud. But you can feel it brewing like a storm you pretend isn't coming. Right now, Harry's public persona is a house without a foundation, and Netflix just yanked away the last piece of scaffolding keeping it upright. The separation, and yes, it's a winner and not an if, won't just be personal. It'll be a full-blown media blood sport. Meghan will step onto that stage with the perfect victim arc, the right lighting, and a carefully crafted My Truth script that's been rehearsed for months. Netflix will frame it in slow motion, cut between emotional piano and lingering shots of her staring out a rain-streaked window. And Harry, he'll be the blurry figure in the background, the man who couldn't handle her ambition, didn't understand her vision, the ex with no counter-platform to tell his side. Because let's face it, when Meghan speaks first, she owns the story. By the time Harry tries to respond, if he even dares, the headlines will already be cemented, the book deals signed, the docu-series teasers trending. And what's he going to do? Pitch another Invicta stock that barely trends past Tuesday? The industry has moved on, the public has moved on, and Netflix has moved so far on they've got binoculars just to see him in the rear view. This is why the live TV cut was so brutal. It wasn't just a snub, it was a signal flare to every other network, publisher, and streaming platform. Don't bother, we've got our star, and it's not him. Once upon a time, he was the wildcard prince who broke the mold. Now he's the guy who'll be remembered for being erased in real time, on a stage he thought he still owned. And when the day comes that Meghan drops the H from her brand entirely, will Harry even see it coming? Or will he, like the rest of us, watch it happen live, with the cameras already rolling?